Alright, Street Dogs, another turbo thought. So this one is about anger and conquering your anger and turning anger into your slave. So anger or ire is one of the most interesting emotions because anger has done a lot of good and bad to humanity. So I think anger is technically a good thing because it kind of shows our sense of justice. So for example, if we never got angry, you know, racism, sexism, classism, blah blah would still go on because people wouldn't be angry about it. So I think anger it's a good internal meter of knowing what you consider just and what's right and what's wrong. So it's good to have anger. Now the question is, how is you to channel your anger and towards what ends and what means, and what do you want it to kind of become of you? So, ooh, kind of like this guy. So some basic thoughts. So first and foremost, I think anger can and should be channeled in a positive way. And when I say positive, I mean treat it like something constructive and generative and doing something that makes a meaningful change, I suppose, rather than just kind of complaining about things for the sake of complaining about things. Because when you get a bunch of people kind of complaining, do a complaining party, ain't nobody really wins, right? And this phrase I really like, generative, is that like, try to make something good out of it. So if you're angry, you know, you could use the chance to go on a walk. I mean, like, honestly, 90% of the time when I'm angry, if I just go on a walk for an hour or so, I feel like 90% better. And you still feel a little bit festering of anger, but that's totally fine. Because I think anger is interesting because this is my thought on the physiology of anger, is that when you get angry, you feel anger or whatever, you feel like there's been some sort of injustice done onto you, or you kind of sense that somebody's trying to transgress upon you or your powers or whatever. And therefore there's this physiological response, and I feel this very strongly because it shows up in my face. I could feel it in my body where my eyes narrow, I feel adrenaline, I get the endorphins, I get the dopamines, like all these chemical cocktails happening in my body. And my theory is, maybe in the past when you got angry, it was a form of like almost going Super Saiyan, where in going angry you could either kill your opponent, you could defend yourself, or you could, you know, do something, right? So certainly there's like an evolutionary perspective of anger, and humans who would never get angry probably wouldn't have existed until now. And the ones that maybe had the most proneness to anger, you know, it might have actually helped them become the kings and the conquerors and the generals, or it could have caused them to exit the gene pool early on. But anyways, so I kind of see anger like this dragon that either it could control you or it could control it. And you know, it's kind of like fire, right? Like fire could be used for good, like cooking your meat, or, you know, warming up your house, but it could be used for bad, like burning down someone's villages or setting people on fire. And so realize that almost anything in life could be used for good or evil, and it's just more of like, and even good and evil is totally subjective, right? So it's just more of a question of how do you want to channel these things towards your own means and why. So for example, when you get angry, it could just be good for you to use that chance to channel that physiological anger and that strength to do a bunch of push-ups, to lift weights. And often when I get angry, I just go to the gym and lift some weights and I feel much better. And I could channel my anger to actually make me stronger, or, you know, it could motivate me to go on a walk. And often like walks are just good for any reason. Like even to go on a walk for no reason is technically a good thing. So like even for me, going on this walk, I'm enjoying the light. And I'm not in the greatest of moods right now, but that's fine. And also, like, a thought too is that whether you're gonna let emotions or anger or whatever prevent you from doing stuff, right? So I think it's okay to get angry and sad or whatever, as long as you're still able to do shit that you kind of want to do. And sometimes actually anger is good because it causes me to focus. And surprisingly, when I'm angry, I become less petty. I just become more focused, and I become less communicative, and I could just focus on in my philosophical thinkings or my artistic pursuits and whatever, and I just kind of, I don't feel bad about it. So don't feel bad about being angry, don't feel bad about being sad. All these are like physiological responses to our environment, our social interactions, our lives, whatever. But I think the question is, are we going to be enslaved by our emotions, or are we going to turn emotions into our slave, make it like this dragon that you turn into your pet to do your bidding? So yeah, maybe that's the thought, like, you know, Lord of the Rings kind of dragon style, right? Turn the dragon into your slave, into your pet, and use it for whatever ends you desire.